It's hard to be bored these days. Seems like everywhere you look, there's something to distract your attention. Streaming services, social media, YouTube. If you live in the Western world, if you have a cell phone or easy access to the internet, you never have to be bored at all. It's all too easy to find something to absorb your attention. This is a problem, especially for creative people, because creativity comes from boredom. It's when your mind has time to fill and nothing else to fill it with that it begins searching inside itself for worthwhile ideas. I mean, think about it. You don't get inspired with brilliant ideas when you're surfing pixel after pixel of mindless content on TikTok or Instagram. You don't get brilliant insights streaming Netflix or Disney Plus or speedrunning a video game. And you sure as hell don't find creativity in a bottle, a pill, or a puff of Bob Marley's medicine. Sorry. Creativity does have many sources. You can find a spark of an idea through reading a book, taking a walk, or engaging in a pleasant conversation. There's all sorts of ways to find ideas. But the only place to kindle that spark and turn it into something worth putting out into the world is up here. And to let that fire kindle, you need stillness, silence, boredom. You need to become bored and let that boredom fire up your creativity. That's the way real work gets done. But how do we do that in the modern day? It's hard, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say that I'm great at it myself. I have an ongoing problem with easy fix entertainment addictions, and I feel the cut to my creative core every time I indulge in those. But I have been able to get a bit more creative work done a bit more often lately. Here are a few things that have helped me. Number one is keeping a notebook handy. It's one of these $1 notebooks. Sure, you may have one of those notes apps on your phone, but seriously, if you have to pick up your phone every time you want to write, and you're on your phone, are you going to actually get any writing done? Really? So I have a bunch of these $1 notebooks just lying all around my house. I have a couple of them in my backpack that I take with me to work or to Starbucks when I'm trying to get work done out of the house or wherever I go. And I'm always ready to write. So these notebooks are where I write the scripts for these videos, where I jot down poems or story ideas, where I outline certain projects or brainstorm them, and oftentimes where I write my rough drafts. It's oftentimes better to write your rough drafts longhand than it is to type them, because then you don't have the computer to distract you. It's not for everybody, but if you haven't tried it before, give it a try. You might be amazed how creative you can be by just letting your pen do the writing for you. I also use these notebooks sometimes just to journal my thoughts. Because sometimes I've just got to do a brain dump. I've just got to empty out the information. So number two, in terms of helping me get bored, of helping me get off my internet addictions, is reading instead of streaming or scrolling. I've taken to carrying my Kindle around with me as often as I carry my phone. So when I am feeling bored or need to take a mental break from writing or other work, and I'm tempted to pick up my phone and just doom scroll through random, mindless entertainment content, I grab my Kindle instead, or a book off my bookshelf, and I force myself to read. Not often forcing myself, because I do enjoy doing it, but it does slow down that heightened, hyperactive, super short attention span. Now this can be mentally taxing at first, especially if you've been out of the reading habit for a while and into the habit of instant gratification. Building the reading habit is like building a muscle. You have to start slow at first. You can't just go out there and deadlift 500 pounds. You can't just go out there and, if you've never really taken time to read before, and if you're a writer, I doubt that's the case, but if you are trying to be a writer and you don't read much, you really need to start getting in the habit. But any creative person should get in the habit of reading. It's going to change your brain in many positive ways. But again, don't start too heavy. If you've never read before, you haven't read in a while, you might not want to dive into Dostoevsky or Henry James or James Joyce or Virginia Woolf. I mean, great authors, all of them, but they're also kind of at a high level. They make your brain do a lot of heavy lifting. So start with something a little bit simpler. Don't give yourself an insurmountable challenge right from the get-go, because then 10 pages in, you may get discouraged and go back to Reddit. So read what you enjoy and let it slowly change your brain. And as you read and as you start to enjoy reading again, start reading like a writer. I've done another video on that before, but start really looking at what you're enjoying in your reading and how you can bring those ideas, those techniques into your own work. As you do this, you'll find yourself pulled to broaden your scope of what you want to read, of the kind of things that you enjoy. You'll be reading broader and deeper, and before you know it, you'll have built a positive new habit to fill in your bored time. It's much better than the toxic doom scrolling. Trust me, I've done them both. But stay vigilant. Really build this habit, because the net is a pervasive monster, and it will suck you back in if you let it. Number 3, and this might be the most important. The most important part of boredom anyway, for creativity. That is, you need to schedule some time every day to do nothing. And I mean nothing. You meditate, which is another thing I strongly suggest you do, even though I'm not very good at keeping up with it myself. If you do that, you might want to meditate right before your do nothing time. Meditating, by the way, is not doing nothing. Meditating is definitely doing something. But meditating will help you clear your brain a little bit for your do nothing time. But your do nothing time, the time when you're just sitting and thinking, might be the most valuable contribution you can make to your creative life. This is when a lot of a writer's or any creative artist's real work gets done. Of course, it's necessary to put words on the page. If you want to be a writer, you have to write. Of course, it's necessary to revise those words to turn them into something that is worth putting out into the world. But in order to have anything worth writing about, you have to think. Well, sometimes this means thinking deeply on an idea, fleshing out a story concept, say, or digging your way through a plot problem. Other times it just means letting your mind wander, picking up fragments of images and ideas along the way. Don't worry, if you let your mind wander, it'll probably come back. Now, oftentimes for writers, it's a mixture of both. You have to think deeply, but also you have to think creatively. You have to let your mind wander. So you need that time, that space, that mental boredom to allow your mind to figure out things to fill it up with. Read, think, write. That's the ideal order to do it in, though you can do it in any order you want, but you need to do all 3. That is how great writers are made. It's how stories are made. Read, think, write. The more you do each of them, the more you'll improve your attention span, your thinking capacity, and your writing skill and productivity. And the less likely you'll be drawn back into the mindless quick fixes, the simple distractions we use to treat boredom in the modern age. But don't beat yourself up if you backslide. Like any addict, you have to take it one day at a time. And you're going to have points where you backslide. I am not perfect at this at all. I'm really working on letting myself be bored every day. It is an ongoing struggle. But it's worth it. As I've said, my creative energy has come up recently, thanks to doing these 3 things. So every day, just read, journal, and give yourself a chance to be bored. Allow your creative core an opportunity to come out and play. You'll honestly be amazed at what you can create and who you become in the process. Thanks for watching all. I hope this helps you in your creative journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like and click the like and subscribe buttons down below, and leave any comments on what you do when you're bored. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, my friends, good luck and good writing. Peace.